Hello, mighty companion. This is Earl Purdy, and I want to welcome you to A Course in Miracles here on Facebook Live. And we're going to be talking about the decision for your innocence, the decision to see your innocence, your decision to have miracles of love and joy, and how you get rid of the blocks, how you let go of that guilt. We're going to go deep today. I'm Earl Purdy. Welcome to Facebook Live. We're going to start out with a song by my brother John Christmas at johnChristmas.com. And it's the theme song of this class, which is, I am not a victim of the world I see. You are not a victim of the world you see. So let's start out right now. And let's let ourselves hear that beautiful song. Then we're going to get down deep in A Course in Miracles. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. I'm not a victim of my mom. I'm not a victim of my pa. I'm not a victim of events and circumstance at all. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. I'm not a victim of the future, not a victim of the past, not a victim of anything that really doesn't last. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. I'm Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to Facebook Live. Are you tired of feeling guilt? Do you want to let go of guilt from anything that you think you've done in the past, and you're ready to let it go, and you're ready to let it go, and you're ready to let it go? You're ready to have the joy, to know your innocence, to know your light, to know your love. That's what we're going to be talking about in my Course in Miracles presentation today. I'm not a victim of the North, I'm not a victim of the South, not a victim of anything except what comes out my mouth. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. Help me out now. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist, and some of the ideas you will find hard to believe, and others may seem to be quite startling. You're not being asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not what's happening now. It's what I've done to me. Oh yeah. What's happening to me is what I've done to me. The way I'm seeing it is what's determining how I feel. And that is the absolute, total, and complete truth of the issue. I'm Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to Facebook Live, A Course in Miracles. We're going to be doing the section called The Decision for Guiltlessness, the decision for your innocence in the Course in Miracles text. The Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. And it's going to be on page 275, paragraph 5. Page 275, paragraph 5. Page 275, paragraph 5. Do you know that in the 40 years that I have been, plus years that I have been studying and teaching A Course in Miracles, I am still as excited. I'm more excited now than I was 40 years ago because I've seen so many positive, loving miracles and benefits from doing A Course in Miracles. So I want to be truly helpful. I want to be helpful. I want to be helpful. So let me give you some tips. Don't analyze A Course in Miracles. 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 Don't try not to put your interpretations of what you think the Course in Miracles means when you're reading it. Try not to come up with your interpretations of what you think the Course in Miracles means when you're reading it. Try not to project your interpretations and meanings and beliefs on the Course in Miracles when you're learning it and when you're hearing it. Do you know that the Course in Miracles explains itself as you read it? It actually anticipates the questions, and so it explains itself. So if you can resist the temptation to take your incredible wisdom and then project it onto the Course in Miracles, then you will find that the journey through the Course in Miracles will be so much more enjoyable. Another tip that I'd like to give you if you're studying A Course in Miracles is that when you read something in the Course in Miracles and you feel fear or contraction or anger, it means you have misinterpreted what you just read. Whenever you respond to the Course in Miracles and all you have is a lot of resistance, then it means that you don't truly realize what the Course in Miracles is saying, and you've lost sight of the purpose of the Course in Miracles. And the purpose of the Course in Miracles is for you to achieve peace of mind. Because the Course in Miracles teaches that when you have peace of mind, you can hear the voice of truth within yourself. You can hear your inner guidance, which it calls the Holy Spirit. That we are all being guided by our Creator. But we're listening to the voice we made up. So that's just a little tip. If you hear something and your immediate reaction is resistance, then you are listening to your interpretation of what you think that said in the Course in Miracles, and not what the Course in Miracles says. All right, so we're going to be on page 275. But first, I'd like to share with you the introduction from A Course in Miracles, because I am the remembering coach. Because it's more important to remember what the Course in Miracles is saying than to understand what the Course in Miracles is saying. It's more important to use it, use the ideas. If you use the ideas, you will see that the ideas are true. If you use it. So let me share with you the introduction. This is A Course in Miracles. This is A Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles is a required course. The Course in Miracles is a required course. That means only the time that you take A Course in Miracles is voluntary. So what is voluntary? When you decide to actually take A Course in Miracles. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. Free will doesn't mean that you can establish how you're going to learn. Free will doesn't mean that you can establish how you're going to learn. Free will means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. You can elect what you want to take at a given time. This course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love. This course doesn't aim at teaching the meaning of love. For the meaning of love is beyond what can be taught. No one can teach you the meaning of love. No one can teach you the meaning of love. But the Course in Miracles does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. What is the purpose of A Course in Miracles? The purpose of A Course in Miracles is to remove the blocks to the awareness of the presence of love. Love is here. You may not be aware of it. Love is your natural inheritance. Love's presence is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear. The opposite of love is fear. What is the opposite of love? It's fear. But love, what is all-encompassing, love can have no opposite. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. A Course in Miracles can be very easily summed up in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. If it's real, it cannot be threatened. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. That was the introduction. So I hope you have your books. I hope you have the Course in Miracles book, because I also want to give you some tips and let you see how the Course in Miracles reads. Sometimes I substitute the definitions that the Course in Miracles gives for the words on the page. Like it says, the miracle, chapter on paragraph 5 on page 275, it says, what does the miracle teach? It teaches that you have chosen guiltlessness, freedom, and joy. So what does an expression of love, what does a miracle in your life, what does it teach you? Miracles teach you that you've chosen your innocence, you've chosen your freedom, and you've chosen joy. So when you have chosen correct perception, true perception, which is the miracle, when you have chosen forgiveness, which is the miracle, you will know it because you will feel guiltless. When you've chosen a true perception, you will feel freedom and joy. So when you've chosen the miracle, which is an expression of love, which is an expression of the correct way of looking at things that the Course in Miracles teaches you, then you will experience what? Guiltlessness, freedom, and joy. So the miracle, which is a correct perception, the Course in Miracles teaches you correct perception. When you have achieved correct perception, which is a miracle, by the way, if we have correct perception, it's a miracle. The Course in Miracles says, having correct perception is what causes things, which is what causes guiltlessness. A correct perception causes you to feel free. A correct perception causes you to feel joy. So a correct perception, a miracle, is a cause and not an effect. So a miracle, which is an expression of love, an expression of completion and abundance, an expression of forgiveness, the Course in Miracles says, guiltlessness, freedom, and joy is the natural result of choosing right. So how can you tell when you have chosen correctly? You experience what? Guiltlessness, freedom, and joy. Notice I'm just going through. Those of you who have the books following along with me, you'll notice that I'm just a messenger that's delivering as clearly as I can what's on the page, that I'm not really giving you my interpretations. I'm sharing with you what the Course is saying, that when you've chosen a miracle, when you've chosen to see correctly, and A Course in Miracles teaches you how to see correctly, how to interpret correctly, then you will know, because you would have chosen innocence, and you would have chosen freedom, and you would have chosen joy. And when you have innocence, and when you feel freedom, and when you feel joy, it means that you have chosen right, attesting to your happiness. And where does happiness come from? Happiness comes from choosing to be free of guilt. So you may think it's the house that's going to make you happy, the car that's going to make you happy, the material thing that's going to make you happy, the special relationship that's going to make you happy. But according to A Course in Miracles, what's really going to make a person feel happy, let me get my Kindle here. What's going to really make a person feel happy is when you choose to be free of guilt. And the Course in Miracles says, everybody you offer healing to returns the healing that you offer them. And the Course in Miracles defines healing as the release from fear. When the Course in Miracles says that you're going to heal, then the Course in Miracles is saying what you are doing is ending and releasing your fear. As you end and release fear and guilt, you heal, because everything is being caused by thought. Everything is being caused by thought. Everything is being caused by thought. So the thought of guilt produces an effect of pain and suffering in your world and in your perception. So everybody you offer healing to, everyone that you do not try to make afraid, everyone that you do not try to make guilty, then they will also return it. But everybody you attack, the Course in Miracles says, everyone you attack keeps it and cherishes it by holding it against you. Whether or not they're really keeping it and cherishing your attack on them by holding it against you, it doesn't really make any difference. The Course in Miracles says, when you attack somebody, you're going to think they're holding it against you. So when you attack someone, you're going to think they're holding it against you, according to the Course in Miracles, whether they're actually holding the attack against you or not. And do you know that it's impossible to offer what you don't want without thinking that it's something that you're going to also receive. If I'm offering you a hard time and I'm criticizing you and I'm judging you and I'm condemning you, then I'm going to think I could be judged, I could be criticized, I could be attacked. The Course in Miracles says it is impossible to offer what you don't want without the penalty of believing that it's being held against you and it could also return to you. So the cost of giving is what? The cost of giving something is that you're going to receive it. The cost of giving something is that you're going to receive it. The cost of giving something is that you are going to receive it. If you give love, you're going to receive love. If you give forgiveness, you're going to forgive. You're going to receive forgiveness. If you give joy and happiness and peace, you're going to receive joy and happiness and peace. If you're a hell raiser and you give everybody a hard time and you're angry and you attack and you're trying to manipulate people, then you're going to attract that to you. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. So the law of giving and receiving, it's either going to be a penalty from which you suffer because you're giving anger and guilt and grievances, and so you receive anger, guilt, and grievances, or it's going to be the happy purchase of a treasure that you hold dear. I'm going to give you what I want to receive. I'm giving you what I want to receive right now. I'm sharing the principles of A Course in Miracles because I want to receive the principles of A Course in Miracles. I'm sharing peace with you because I want to receive peace. So what did the first paragraph say? Well, it basically says that when you experience love in your life and miracles in your life, it means you've chosen your innocence, it means you've chosen your freedom, and it means you've chosen your joy. So freedom and innocence and joy, the Course in Miracles says that's the result of you choosing correctly. So how can you tell when you're choosing correctly? Because you will experience guiltlessness, freedom, and joy. And so how can you tell when you're really ready to be happy? How can you tell when you're really ready to have joy? Well, you will choose to be free of guilt. And so anybody that's constantly trying to make you feel guilty is not someone that's your friend. That is not someone that is helping you have happiness. Someone that's angry at you all the time, and you're angry at somebody all the time, and you're trying to make them do and be the way you want them to be, or they're trying to make you do or be the way they want you to be, or they're trying to make you feel guilty, then that's someone who is not supporting your happiness. And that is you not supporting someone else's happiness, if that is what you're doing. Now, I'm a messenger. The Course in Miracles defines a messenger as a minister. And what I mean by that is I'm just delivering the message of the Course in Miracles. I did not write it. I do not defend it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. There's a line in the Course in Miracles that says, no matter what your reaction to these ideas may be, use these ideas. So it doesn't matter how you're reacting to what I'm saying to you. What's important, first of all, is that you know that when you're not choosing for your innocence, that you are choosing for pain and suffering. That if you look at yourself as sinful and guilty and bad, then you are not choosing to be happy. You're not choosing to be happy. And if you attack other people, then you're going to think other people may attack you. You're going to think that they're holding it against you. The cost of giving is receiving. The cost of giving is receiving. There's a workbook lesson in A Course in Miracles that goes, all that I give is given to myself. All that I give is given to myself. All that you give is given to yourself. Everything you give, you're giving it to yourself. So the Course in Miracles, what else does it tell us? It says there's no penalty ever asked of you except by you. The universe is not punishing you. No one else is really punishing you. The Creator isn't punishing you. No penalty is ever asked of you except by yourself and of yourself. The Course in Miracles says, whether you realize it or not, nobody's asking a penalty of you but you. So what happens every time you're being given an opportunity to heal? What's happening? The Course in Miracles says every chance given you to heal is another opportunity to replace darkness with light. So what does it mean to replace darkness with light? It means to replace your fear with love. So this is another chance. This is another opportunity for you to replace fear with love. Every time you are with another person, what is it? It's an opportunity. Right now, you and I, we have an opportunity. What opportunity? The opportunity to replace fear with love. This is another opportunity. What is it? We have an opportunity. Right now, I'm so glad to be with all my mighty companions. I look at all your comments. I go back and go through them. Don't forget to share this video. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to my page, the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. I post my classes on YouTube. Also, because I'm going to say it again, the key to being able to practice what the Course in Miracles is teaching is through remembering what it's saying. If you don't remember what it's saying, you haven't learned what it's saying. So listen to me. Every time you're with somebody, you have another opportunity. What is that opportunity? You have the opportunity to replace fear with love. Now, if you refuse to replace fear and anger with love and peace, what does the Course say? It says, you are binding yourself to darkness, binding yourself to fear. When you refuse to replace and to learn how to replace guilt with innocence or fear with love, if you are not willing to replace your grievances with miracles, you are binding yourself to darkness. Notice the term, binding yourself to darkness. And the Course in Miracles defines darkness as ignorance. Ignorance. Now, why would the Course in Miracles say that when you refuse to replace guilt with forgiveness, that you're binding yourself to ignorance? Well, because when a person doesn't replace fear with love, grievances with forgiveness, the Course says that means you did not choose to free that other. You're not choosing to free that other. So how do you free another person? He says you enter light with him. So when I enter love with you, when I enter truth with you, then I'm choosing to free you and you're choosing to free me. So how do you bind yourself to lack? How do you bind yourself to sickness? How do you bind yourself to darkness? How do you bind yourself to ignorance? You don't take advantage of the opportunities that you have to replace fear with love. Every time you're with someone, you're being given an opportunity to replace ignorance with knowledge. By giving power to nothing, by giving power to fear and anger and guilt and the past, which the Course defines as nothing, you are throwing away. What are you throwing away? You're throwing away the joyous opportunity to learn. So every time I'm with you and I refuse to want to heal with you and to move toward love with you and to move toward forgiveness with you, then I'm refusing to allow myself to have joy. I'm refusing to allow myself to have the miracle. So I'm throwing away a joyous opportunity to learn that what is nothing has no power. The past really has no more power than I give it. Whatever I'm upset about has no more power than I'm giving it. Nothing has no power. Nothing has no power. Do you know that the Course in Miracles teaches that the only thing that's real is love? You may not realize it, but the only thing that's real is love. The only thing that's real is truth. The only thing that's real is freedom. And if you are not experiencing love, freedom, and abundance, joyousness and freedom and innocence, then you're not experiencing what is real. And that's why the Course calls anger, guilt, and grievances nothing, because the only thing that's real is love. 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 So by not dispelling darkness, by not dispelling the grievance, by not dispelling the anger, by not dispelling the fear, then he says what's going to happen is that the person is going to become afraid of darkness and light. I'm afraid of the darkness, but I'm just as afraid of light. So what is the joy of learning? The joy of learning. So what is the joy of learning? Do you know that you want to learn? It's a joy to learn that darkness has no power over the child of God. That means fear has no power over the child of God. Anger has no power over the child of God. Guilt has no power over the child of God. Lack has no power over the child of God. Sickness has no power over the child of God. The Course in Miracles says there's a joy and a happiness in learning that your fears have no power over you. Your fears have no power over you, over you. Your fears have no power over you, over you. Guilt has no power over you, over you. I say lack has no power over you. Do you know that's the happy lesson that the Holy Spirit teaches? So what is the lesson that love teaches? What is the lesson that the Holy Spirit teaches? What is the lesson that the truth teaches? Remember, it's about remembering. What's the lesson that the truth teaches? The lesson that the Holy Spirit teaches is that fear, darkness, and guilt has no power over you. So love is going to teach you that fear has no power over you. And it is the Holy Spirit's joy to teach that fear has no power over you. The loving person, it's their joy to teach that fear and guilt has no power over you or anybody else. So it's going to be your joy. It's going to be your joy to teach that the ego has no power over you. Fear has no power over you or anybody else. Guilt has no power over you or anybody else. The Holy Spirit, your inner teacher, is teaching you that guilt and fear and the belief in sin and the belief in guilt and separation and lack, even though you might believe it, it has no power over you. Fear has no power over you. I say fear has no power over you. Don't you know guilt has no power over you? The belief in sin has no power over you. Lack has no power over you. I say sickness has no power over you. Now, how do you teach this simple lesson? How do you teach this simple lesson? The lesson that the ego has no power over you. Guilt, fear, and lack has no power over you. How do you teach this simple lesson? Well, listen very carefully. It says it right here. It says, guiltlessness is invulnerability. That means that when you know your innocence, when you know your guiltlessness, you cannot be hurt. You cannot be hurt. When you know your guiltlessness and your innocence, you cannot be hurt. If you believe in your total innocence and guiltlessness, then it is invulnerability. We come into a culture. Have you noticed we come into a culture and a society that programs us from the day we are born that we were guilty. Some of us are actually taught that we were born in sin and as sinners. So if you are taught that you are guilty and sinful, then the Course in Miracles teaches that that belief makes you vulnerable to pain and suffering, and that pain and suffering comes from the belief that you are guilty. Therefore, you need to make your invulnerability manifest. How do you make your invulnerability manifest? You make your invulnerability manifest. How do you do it? Well, it just said guiltlessness is invulnerability. So to make your invulnerability manifest is the same as saying you're going to make your guiltlessness manifest. So I'm going to make my innocence manifest. I'm not going to attack others as much as I possibly can. I'm not going to try to make people feel guilty and afraid and project and blame them, because if I truly know my innocence, I don't have that kind of anger. I don't have a need to project and be upset with everything and everybody. So I'm going to make my invulnerability manifest to everyone by making my innocence manifest to everyone. And how do you truly make your innocence manifest to everyone else? Well, you don't try to make other people feel guilty. Don't try to make other people feel guilty. Stop. Don't try to make other people feel guilty. Stop trying to make anyone feel guilty. Stop trying to make anyone feel guilty. Stop making yourself feel guilty. Stop making yourself feel guilty. That's how you manifest your invulnerability to everyone. Now, I'm telling you what the Course in Miracles is teaching. The Course in Miracles is 3 books in one. It's a text, there's a workbook, and a manual for teachers, all in the one book. The workbook lessons teach you how to teach you how to recognize and use and practice these principles that you hear me talking about right now. If you don't do the workbook, you can't really get the Course in Miracles without doing the workbook. You won't truly get the result of a Course in Miracles without doing the workbook lessons. I'm going to tell you that because it's the truth. I want to save you some time. The purpose of the workbook lessons is to show you how to live the principles of truth and the Course in your everyday life. Because if you don't learn how to practice this in your everyday life, then what good is it? So the purpose of the workbook is to show you how to apply these principles in your everyday life. So let's keep it simple. So what is the simple lesson? The simple lesson is that you are innocent, whether you think you are or not. So what you want to do is make your innocence manifest to everyone. So how do you make your innocence? How do you make your invulnerability? How do you make your guiltlessness manifest to everyone? This is going to be a real challenge to hear. Beep, 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 beep. This is going to be a real challenge to hear. Beep, 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 beep. Course in Miracles warning. What I'm about to tell you, you may find it hard to believe. You want to teach others that whatever they may try to do to you, you want to teach other people that no matter what they try to do to you, you have perfect freedom from the belief that you can be harmed. You want to show people that you have the perfect freedom that comes from not having the belief that they can hurt you. And by not showing people that they have harmed you, that's how you show that person that they are guiltless and innocent. Whatever they may try to do to you, your perfect freedom from the belief that you can be harmed shows the other person that they are guiltless. And that's how you show yourself. Stop trying to, the Course in Miracles is basically saying, and it's going to bring up some resistance for some people. The Course in Miracles is saying that you want to show people, I'll put it this way, you will get to the point when you have done your spiritual work. You will get to the point when you have done your spiritual work that you don't have the belief that anybody can hurt you. When you've truly done your spiritual work and you are truly awake, you will be free of the belief that anybody can hurt you, that anything that's happening to you could be caused by anything but you. And so you want to show other people, I'll put it this way, you will be showing other people that they can do nothing that can hurt you. I'm going to let you know I am free of the belief that you can hurt me. I'm not going to let you think you're always hurting me. The Course in Miracles says the other person can do nothing that can hurt you. And by refusing to allow the other person to think they can hurt you, then you teach them that the atonement, which is the innocence which you have accepted for yourself, is also theirs. You will get to the point that you will be showing people that no matter what they try to do to you, that your freedom from the belief that you can be hurt is going to show them that they are innocent, that they haven't done anything to hurt you, so they're innocent. They can do nothing that can hurt you. By refusing to allow another person to think that they can hurt you, then you're teaching that the atonement, forgiveness, the healing, the innocence that you've accepted for yourself is also theirs. So how can you tell when you have really accepted your innocence? How can you tell when you really accepted your guiltlessness? Then you won't always be going around trying to let everybody know how much they are hurting you or upsetting you in some way. A person who is invulnerable, a person who knows that they are loved and only loved, a being that knows that they are spirit, that they are connected to God, a being that knows they are connected to the source, is a being that feels like nothing can hurt them. And so that's a being that believes that it is invulnerable. So how do you teach and learn that? You will get to the point that you'll be teaching other people that no matter what they try to do to you, your perfect freedom from the belief that you can be hurt is showing them that they are innocent. They're innocent because they are not the ones that are hurting you. You are showing that they cannot do anything to hurt you. And you're refusing to even allow them to think they can hurt you. And by doing that, you teach yourself that you are innocent and they are innocent. An innocent mind doesn't believe it deserves to suffer. An innocent mind doesn't believe it deserves to suffer. So an innocent mind does not attract attack or pain or guilt or sickness. When you get to that point in your spiritual development, and just because I'm telling you what the Course in Miracles is saying, that doesn't mean you have achieved that level of consciousness and that level of awareness yet. Readiness is not mastery. Readiness is not mastery. Readiness is not mastery. Just because you're ready to be invulnerable, just because you're ready to be a more loving, giving, kind person, forgiving person, it doesn't mean that's the way you are right now. Just because you're ready to learn how to ride a bike doesn't mean that you have mastered riding a bike just because you're ready to learn how to ride a bike. So because you're ready to learn because you're ready to be more loving, more giving, more sane, it doesn't mean you can still be crazy as hell, but you're just ready to become more sane. So just because I'm telling you the way that you're going to be after you've done the spiritual work with the Holy Spirit, it doesn't mean that that's what you're capable of doing today. It doesn't mean you're capable today of showing everybody around you that they haven't hurt you. So I want you to be clear about that. Just because I'm telling you about what you're going to become, that doesn't mean you're that way. You could be as far away from that as you could imagine. You know, you might have a body stuffed in the alley right now, and you decided you better learn how to love and forgive fast, or you're in big trouble. So just because you're ready to stop being a murderer, that doesn't mean that maybe there's not a few bodies laying on the ground somewhere. So I'm trying to tell you, just because the Course in Miracles is telling you what you're going to be one day and how loving you're going to be one day, it does not mean that that's the way that you're expressing yourself right now. But he's saying, if you want to know that you're innocent, if you want to know that you cannot be hurt, then this is the way you eventually get to the point where you cannot be hurt. You will get to the point that the last thing you want to do is make somebody else feel guilty. That's what's going to happen when you really get to the point that you are ready to have joy, for real. There is nothing to forgive. What? There's nothing to forgive. I can give you a whole lot of things that need to be forgiven. The Course in Miracles says, now, it didn't say you didn't think there was something to forgive. If you didn't have grievances, there would be no need for the spiritual teachings like A Course in Miracles. But I'm just going to tell you the truth. The Course in Miracles says there is nothing to forgive. Why is there nothing to forgive? Why is there nothing to forgive? Because no one can hurt the child of God. No one can hurt a child of God. Now, what does that mean? That means that, and I'm going to repeat this over and over again. What you really are is spirit. What you really are is consciousness. What you really are is eternal. What you really are never dies. What you really are cannot be hurt. You are not a body. You are not a body. Your body is your communication device. Your body is your communication device. Your body is your communication device. Your body is a learning device. The 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 body is not you. The body is a learning device. The body is a communication device. The body is a communication device. Can't you see that that's what I'm doing right now? I'm using my body to communicate. I'm using my body to join with you. I'm using my body to join minds with you. The body is not what you are. The body is not what you are. The body is a learning device. The body is a communication device. So, yeah, the body can be hurt. Yeah, the body can be destroyed. Yeah, the body is not what you are. 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 So that paragraph was intense. So let's go back. The Course in Miracles says over and over and over again. The Course in Miracles says, read me slowly. The Course in Miracles says, read me slowly. It is not a novel. The Course in Miracles is not a novel. It's not just something you read like any other book. It is a book that changes your mind as you read it. It completely transforms your mind as you read it. So I want you to hear what this is saying. There is nothing to forgive. No one can hurt the child of God, what you really are, what you really are, what you really are. So your guilt is totally without cause. There's no cause for you to feel guilt. There's no cause for your you. I mean the real you. I'm talking about the real you. I'm not talking about your ego. I'm not talking about the part of you that believes it's guilty. I'm not talking about the part of you that believes it has anger and grievances. That's not the real you. That's your concept of yourself. That is your conditioning. That is what you have learned to think about yourself. Perception is learning. Perception is learning. Perception is learning. Perception is learning. You perceive what you've learned. You perceive what you've learned. You perceive what you've learned. You perceive what you have learned. What you see is what you learn. You see me as a man because you learned to see me as a man. Do you follow what I'm saying? You're seeing what you have learned. You learned this was a sofa, so you see it as a sofa. That's true about everything in your life. Everything in your life. Every single thing that you see, you're looking at what you learned and how you learned to see it. And the Course in Miracles is giving you new interpretations. So here's a new interpretation. You ready? There is nothing to forgive because no one can really hurt a child of God. Your guilt is totally without cause. There's no reason for your guilt. Now, do you make mistakes when you forget who you really are? When you think you're just a human being that is flawed in some way, or that someone else is a human being that's flawed in some way? Then, of course, people who don't know who they really are, who don't remember they're the child of God and that they are innocent and loved, people who are feeling fear and guilt and focusing on grievances in the past, and they think they're different from everybody else and separate from everybody else. That being that believes that way is going to go through pain. That's just a fact. When you forget who you really are and you believe you're guilty and afraid and you're full of grievances and you're angry at everybody and you think you're a body that's going to die one day and you're a victim of everything around you, how in the world could you not be unhappy a lot if that's your perception of everything? So I'm going to do a review because it's all about hearing it, because we need to understand the main points that Spirit has made with us today. Yes, I want to thank you for tuning in to my broadcast. I'm a full-time teacher. This is what I do in the world. It is my calling, and I love it, and I appreciate you. And if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, I truly would be grateful. If you'd like to do that, you can go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com. And you can use Venmo or the Cash App or PayPal. My email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. Thank you so much for sharing with me. I'm also available for one-on-one sessions, counseling, mentoring, so I can save you some time. The Holy Spirit actually can save you time through me. So if you have some situations and circumstances that you know you need to see another way, that you're ready to get past that block and you want to save time, well, you can have a private session with me called a clarity session. If you go to my website, it explains it in detail. Also, I have been a professional astrologer and numerologist for over 40 years also. And it's just another way that Holy Spirit, higher consciousness, higher power communicates through to us. And if you're open to it, I also can do that for you also. You'd be amazed what a reading of your astrological chart can teach you, that is also saying exactly what the Course is saying, but how you apply it also to your everyday life. The Course says the Holy Spirit uses everything to communicate with us. No matter what you've learned, no matter what you do, that can be used for Spirit to communicate with you. So I'm available. You can book a session with me right on my website, Clarity Sessions. Thursdays at 1 p.m., Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. I do another Facebook Live on the Earl Purdy page that's called Hardcore Course in Miracles, where my focus is even more on the practical application of the Course in Miracles, and it's especially geared toward people who are Course in Miracles students, even though I welcome everybody to tune in. That's 7 p.m. Mountain Time on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook on Thursdays. And then, of course, Sundays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, we have the Facebook Live Course in Miracles that we're doing right now. Yeah. And don't forget to join my groups on Facebook, my Course in Miracles groups. So here we go. So what did we hear? Remember, what did we hear? What were the instructions? See, you want to listen to what the Course in Miracles is saying. You want to hear it first. It doesn't matter how you're going to react to it or whether or not you understand it. But the first thing you want to do is hear it. So what is it that the Course in Miracles teaches you? What does the miracle teach you? Well, when you're having miracles in your life, which the Course defines as expressions of love, states of completion and abundance, things that happen in your life that really go beyond what you believe is possible. It says that when all that good stuff start happening to you, that's how you know you've chosen innocence, freedom, and joy. Choosing innocence and freedom and joy, it causes miracles in your life. How can you tell when you're choosing right? How can you tell when you're choosing right? You feel innocence, freedom, and joy. So where does happiness come from? Where does happiness come from according to the Course? Where does happiness come from according to the Course in Miracles? According to the Course in Miracles, happiness comes from choosing. Happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice. It's not an external event, circumstance, or person. Your happiness comes from choosing right, choosing right, choosing right, choosing right, choosing right. Now remember, anybody that you attack keeps it and cherishes it by holding it against you, and even if they don't, there's a part of you that will think that they do, because whatever you give is what you think you're going to receive, whether you know it or not. So the cost of giving something is that you're going to receive it. So are you giving love and peace and joy and freedom, or are you a person that's giving a lot of anger, guilt, grievances, and attack? Because either you're going to use the laws of the universe to bring you a happy purchase, or you're going to use the laws of the universe to cause yourself suffering. Because one of the most basic laws of the universe is giving and receiving are one, that you're going to receive what you give. Do you know that the Course in Miracles told us today that you're the only one that punishes you? That there's nobody else that punishes you, because you have the power to determine what you're going to give any meaning to. So you don't have to let what anybody else says about you, or anything anybody else thinks about you affect you at all. So the Course is saying basically there's no penalty asked of anyone except by you. So what happens when you're with another person? What happens whenever you're with another person? Is it giving you an opportunity? Yeah, it's giving you an opportunity. What is the opportunity that we have with each other right now? We have the opportunity to replace fear with love. We have the opportunity to replace fear with love. Because you don't want to bind yourself to fear and guilt and lack, do you? Do you want to bind yourself with fear and guilt and lack? Well, you're binding yourself to ignorance and lack whenever you don't choose to free another person. And from a Course in Miracles perspective, freeing another person is not putting a guilt trip on them. That's not saying that we make mistakes. Mistakes are for correction. I'm not saying that we don't make, of course we make mistakes. We make the mistake of forgetting who we really are and thinking that we're just bodies. We made a hell of a mistake. Sometimes people make the mistake of thinking that they're guilty, sinful, and bad by nature. So yeah, But whenever you do that, you can tell you made a mistake about yourself because you won't feel guiltlessness, freedom, and joy. So every time that we're with each other, we get another opportunity to remind each other of the truth. So do you know that we're going to learn a joyful lesson? And what is that joyful lesson? That joyful lesson is learning that guilt has no power over you. Fear has no power over you. Anger has no power over you. Lack has no power over you. That's what the Holy Spirit teaches you. The Holy Spirit teaches you that you are innocent and free. That you are innocent and free and lovable. That's what love teaches you. That's what the Holy Spirit teaches you. And you're going to teach that one day. You're going to teach that one day. You're going to teach that we are innocent one day. So how do you teach this simple, joyful lesson? We're going to keep it simple. Guiltlessness is invulnerability. The more you know your innocence, the less you feel guilty, the more invulnerable you are. The less you feel guilty about anything. And the Course says we have conscious and unconscious guilt. You could have guilt you don't know about. So what do you want to do? If you want to know your power, if you want to know you cannot be hurt, if you want to be safe, what do you do? What do you do? Well, you make your guiltlessness, your invulnerability manifest to everyone. So how do you make your innocence manifest to everyone? No matter what that other person may do to you, you keep the belief that nobody else can really hurt you, and that whatever happens to you is ultimately coming from you. And by not showing people that they have hurt you, you are showing that person that they are not guilty of doing anything wrong. You want to get to the point one day you will get to the point that you won't want anybody to think that they have hurt you. One day you won't want anybody to think that they've hurt you. And you won't even allow people to even think that they've hurt you. And so by refusing to allow another person to think that they are bad and that they've hurt you, then you are manifesting and showing them their innocence. And you are teaching them that their innocence, the innocence that you've accepted for yourself, is also true for them. You may not be at that level of consciousness yet. You're doing A Course in Miracles because you want to get to the point that you have let go of all blocks that keep you from being perfectly happy. The Course in Miracles works on your perception. The purpose of A Course in Miracles is to teach you how to remove all the erroneous, all the hurtful, every thought that you have that blocks your happiness and your abundance and your unity and your oneness with God. The purpose of A Course in Miracles is to give you the peace of mind. The purpose of A Course in Miracles is to give you peace of mind, to give you total fulfillment from within, so that your happiness is no longer dependent on anything or anybody outside yourself. You don't want your happiness dependent on anything or anybody outside yourself. If you are smart, if you're waking up, if you're becoming more conscious as a spiritual being, you don't want your happiness dependent on anything outside you. You could enjoy that house, that car, that money, that trip, and you could just have so much appreciation for it, but you'll realize that the happiness that you're feeling when you have those things and when you're doing those things, that's coming from within yourself. So show your innocence to everyone as much as you can. You don't want to show people that they've hurt you as much as you can. You're going to learn how to get rid of all guilt thoughts, because you realize that all guilt, all pain, guilt is the sole cause of all pain. People don't know that. That's why we call it the truth, because it's opposite to what we believe. You wouldn't be hearing something truly new if I was not saying things that you might find hard to believe, that you might not even agree with. But remember, this isn't about agreeing right now or disagreeing. What I'm doing is delivering the message as clearly as I can, which is there's nothing to forgive because you're innocent. And nobody can really hurt what you really are as a child of God. I didn't say that nobody couldn't hurt who you think you are. I said no one could hurt who you really are. And just let yourself receive the idea that there is no reason for you to feel guilty. If you made a mistake can be corrected. just don't do the thing again, whatever that was that you think caused pain, that you feel guilty about, then just don't do it again. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. That's the only message. If you did something which you think of as horrible or bad and you feel guilty about it, don't do it again. That's the message. Don't do it again. But I'm telling you that there's a part of you that is unlimited love. There is a part of you that is eternally innocent. There is a part of you that is eternal and that is totally loving. And I'm advocating for that part of you. So who you really are, no one can hurt it. And there is no cause for your guilt. And you being really guilty cannot exist. Can you make mistakes? Yes. There's a mistake for correction? Exactly. But who you are and what you are, your real self, your divine self, cannot be hurt and is totally innocent. Mighty companion, I'm Earl Purdy. I love reminding you that you are guiltless. I love telling you that there's a part of you that is immortal and eternal. There's a part of you that is pure love. There's a part of you, the real you, that is free. So, may the course be with you. Please share this video. See you next time.